Howdy, it's Jim Morado, and this is very early April 2025. We are in Sedona, Arizona, one of my favorite spots on the planet. A lot of people, it's one of their favorite spots on the planet too. Sedona is special. If you're a road tripper, if you like to take trips, this is a place that's just nice to get to anytime you can. It was our third trip to Sedona, and unfortunately, yeah, we were able to fit in part most of a day, and I was grateful to get that in. Part of a day is better in Sedona than not getting to Sedona. My friend Nate, we were with our friends Nate and Holly, and they were glad to get here too. We were last here in 2007, actually also with Nate and Holly, and we had all been itching to get back for some time, and we finally made it. A couple decades in between trips, though, that's too much. I've got to get here. I've got to get this in the rotation. I've got to get back to Arizona much more frequently. I love this place. I think there was a time, people have been visiting Sedona. It's been a tourist attraction for decades, but I think it has really exploded over the last decade or so. And yeah, the streets are crowded. The secret's out. People know to come to Sedona, as they should. A bit of a new age capital. If you're into UFOs, aliens, psychics, vortexes, they're here, and it is also just one of the prettiest places on the planet. And we came down. We did a pink Jeep tour. I'll put up another video about that. And we were able to spend a little bit of time in Sedona, just roaming around at our leisure. I wish I had more time to do that though, but maybe next time. A few businesses that I liked last time we were here have since closed up, and I was sad to see that. But I think Sedona, it's a tough town. If you're a business, you've got to. I think it's kind of tough to make it here. We stopped at a magic shop when we were here back in oh oh 07. That was really cool, and I don't know when they closed. And then we also stopped at the Red Planet Diner, and it's also closed in the meantime. A couple of coffee shops and other little businesses I noticed are no longer here. By the way, this video I think we drove around. I filmed for about 11 minutes, and then I'm gonna put some pictures from our previous trips up just to show you some of the stuff that I remember from earlier trips. I did watch after we got home from this trip. I hunted down the movie Sedona. I think it was filmed in 2011, and it was filmed pretty much in Sedona. Very cute, very fun, very sweet movie. I enjoyed that quite a bit, and I don't. It wasn't. I don't think it was a major release or anything like that, but it had a couple of names in it. I know Robert Shields was in the movie, um, and he's done some art. Used to have a jewelry shop in Sedona, and of course, I remember him barely from the '70s. I barely remember the Clinkers and Shields and Yarnell. And I know on our first trip to Sedona, by the way, that's McDonald's is supposed to be one of the few that does not have a yellow arch. There's some laws in Sedona where you have to kind of keep your colors a certain way. By the way, we stopped at Sedonuts. The business is Sedonuts. They sell donuts, and they're in Sedona, and it is very popular as it should be. I did buy a T-shirt. In fact, I bought me a T-shirt, and I bought a couple of other T-shirts for a couple of friends. I bought some donuts, and I bought some coffee, and I was very happy with all of my purchases. So if you're in Sedona, you need to go to Sedonuts. It's very close to the McDonald's. with the turquoise arches. And again, I think Sedona has a law that you have to kind of match all the other businesses. So there's that. I've always heard that anyway. Back to the movie Sedona and Robert Shields. Back when we first came to Sedona in 2004, I walked into a shop and they had all sorts of Shields and Yarnell photos on the walls. And I asked the lady running the place, who's the big Shields and Yarnell fan? And she told me that Robert Shields owned that store. And I thought that was pretty cool. Again, just something I remember. You want to stump your 20-year-old friends, ask them who Shields and Yarnell are. They won't get the reference. Anyway, so we drove around Sedona. Um, Again, just a pretty town, pretty place to be. We enjoyed our pink Jeep tour. It was expensive, but we were happy with it, and we thought we spent our money well. We had a very nice driver, and we enjoyed it. Finally took a pink Jeep tour, and yeah, it was definitely worth it. I would take one again next time I'm in the area. And of course, cowboy movies, old westerns used to be filmed in this neck of the woods. Geez, I want to say in the 40s and 50s. And you can still find, I want to say John Wayne movies and stuff that were filmed here. Of course, the place is too built up now, and I think that ended up being the problem. I think they had to quit filming in this area because it was getting too built up. There were still some secluded locations, but you could see a modern house in the distance and that kind of thing. So I think that's what put an end to that. When we were here in '07, I remember walking into a place that had a sign up about a movie museum. It was some sort of a movie museum. I walked in. It was a timeshare business. We were not there long. And then since our last visit in 2007, there was an actual movie museum that popped up in Sedona, and it has since closed. So we totally missed getting to see their actual movie museum. Someone told me that there's another museum that does have a display on the movies that were filmed here, though. We did find time to stop at the church, the Chapel of the Holy Cross. I'll put up another video about that. A couple of changes there since we were here last. That's kind of cool to see. Always a cool place to visit. I know when we were here last time, we stopped there, and we were pretty much the only people there. On this trip, it was very crowded. The parking lot was very crowded. And that happens, though. And yeah, just again, driving around Sedona. There was also a bookstore that I remember going into on our first visit. Very cool little local bookstore. Great view out the back window. Nice people running the place. It was a bookstore, though. I think it's hard for just a straight up bookstore to survive anywhere these days. I asked the guy running the bookstore to point me towards the weirdest book he had on the area, and I bought it. And it was very weird. Very strange book. I enjoyed reading it, though. Um, yeah, Sedona, again, is just a hotbed of weirdness. Lots of UFO sightings and things like that. I do know that they do UFO tours. And I looked those up. They are expensive. But I talked to a couple of locals who felt like, you should go ahead and do it. They're pretty good at showing you stuff you're not going to see otherwise, some kind of mind blowing stuff. So yeah, we weren't here all day, didn't have time to do it on this trip, but maybe the next trip we will try to do one of those. What do you think? If you've done one of those, drop me a note, or if you have any thoughts on that, let me know. Let me know what you think. Very cool hotels out here. We did stay in Sedona on our 2008 trip. We stayed a few nights. I enjoyed that a lot, and yeah, hope to do that again in the near future. We did come home from this trip to Arizona, and I tried to talk my wife into let's just go again next year. Let's just make this happen. She was on board with me, but we did have well, if you've been on an airplane recently, man, it's a bit more cumbersome than it used to be. Airplane travel is a little sloppier than it used to be. We got delayed. We had an hour and a half layover in Charlotte. We thought that would be plenty of time, and we ended up having to run to catch our plane. It was kind of ugly, and I just yeah, for the next year or two, we might be doing strictly road trip on the ground traveling. But man, am I itching to get back out to Arizona, and specifically Sedona. I don't want to compare Sedona to Salem, Massachusetts, but I know that there are, kind of new age bookstores, psychic readers, and things like that. If you've had any experience with that sort of thing, I'd love to hear from you too. Just curious. And of course, anywhere you're walking in Sedona or driving, you've just got great views. It snowed quite a bit while we were in Arizona on this trip. In fact, on the way up to Sedona, it was snowing, and it stopped right before we took our Pink Jeep tour. We were grateful for that. And it mostly held off. It did start snowing again towards the end of the day. And to be honest, mostly around Flagstaff, uh, we were driving in some conditions that were pretty close to whiteout. Oh, and by the way, here are some pictures. This is from 2008. We stopped at the Red Planet Diner. I love this place. It was kitschy, really cool decor, very appropriate for Sedona. Lots of UFO and alien and sci-fi kind of things hanging from the ceilings and all. I love this place, and I thought they had good food. A lot of times, places like this, the food can be hit or miss. We had some great wings here, and we ended up going back a night or two later for the wings because we enjoyed the wings so much. And this diner, I mentioned that movie Sedona from 2011. The diner actually makes an appearance in that movie, and I thought that was pretty cool. Unfortunately, it was not enough to keep the place in business. If you know anything about this diner, let me know. I mean, it was just a cool place, and I really liked it. Um, just very very perfect place to stop at in Sedona. And again, those are just some pictures I took in 2008. Trolley, again, I think that is also from 2008. I took some pictures in 2000. I'm sorry, I think that was 2007, those pictures. Also took some pictures from 2004. And some of the statues that we got pictures of from back in 2007. Some great pieces, by the way. Sedona, too, is one of those places that if somebody brings you back a gift from their trip to Sedona, there's something very special about it. A lot of cool handmade things from here. An old coworker, right after I got out of college, a friend had went here before we even planned on coming to Sedona, and she brought me back. It was something she got for free, but it was a bookmark with Snoopy Rock on it, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Like just yeah, it's Snoopy Rock, it's Snoopy, but it's a cool formation, and it was one of the first things I looked for when we came out to Sedona the first time. Yeah, and there's the chapel, the Holy Cross Chapel there. I think that was from 2007. Fascinated with this little ant hill with the kind of rusty colored dirt that the ants used to build it. Oh, and there's a safari out in Sedona you can go on too. And we had a nice time on that safari. I was not filming back then, but I was taking pictures, and I just thought I would include that picture. Anyway, that was our trip to Sedona from this year. with some pictures from 2007 thrown in. Let me know what you think. Again, I'd love to hear from some locals, and I would love to hear from some other travelers that just enjoy going there. Oh yeah, there was the the movie museum I mentioned that ended up being a timeshare thing. Anyway, just let me know what you think. Let me know if you've been to Sedona. Let me know. Let me know if you're from there. Thanks a lot.